Hi everybody, welcome to the Limit Breakdown. I'm your host Sid.
I'm Migs.
And today we're doing our weekly roundup for the week ending in May 19th. So, what's going on? The entertainment news this week.
Alright, so we're going to start off with the weekend box office results.
Weekend box office numbers.
Yeah. So, as expected, once again, Guardians of the Galaxy takes that top spot. $62 million rake in for last weekend. So, a bit of a drop from the first week, but still pretty good holding. Holding strong on that number 2 spot is the Super Mario Brothers movie with 12.6 million, still running strong. It's going to be curious to see how they do next week because this movie is being released to video on demand.
Ooh,
so people will
nice.
be able to rent it at home.
Okay.
Beginning, I think, yesterday.
Nice.
Number 3, a book club, The Next Chapter with 6.68 million.
Okay.
Not familiar with that one. So
No, I don't know about that one either.
Number 4 is Evil Dead Rise with 3.72 million. So
wow,
holding on strong at that number 4 position. And then number 5, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. 2.52 million. So it's our second week on the top 5. So
nice. I guess must be pretty good if it's still holding top 5.
It's supposed to be based on a book from what I saw.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
But rolling into the news for the week.
Okay.
So there are there's casting rumors for the upcoming Superman project for DC and James Gunn's reboot.
Okay.
There is a actor called David Cornsweet.
I don't think I'm familiar with his work.
Yeah, I checked out his IMDb. I saw a couple of things. He was on House of Cards for an episode. There's a couple of, but he seems to be relative newcomer. So
he's gonna be a major factor in the movie somehow.
Well, the rumor is that he's being cast for Superman.
Okay.
But he does have a passing resemblance to Henry Cavill.
Okay.
I don't know if that's coincidence or not, but moving on.
Okay.
So I don't know how you feel about the movie Back to the Future, but it's particular favorite of mine.
Yeah.
They recently did an interview with Michael J. Fox where they, asked him about how he would feel about the movie being rebooted, right? And him, having been the original actor on the movie, and it's such a beloved cult classic. And he kind of gave a standard answer. He was just kind of like, well, it's not my movie, so they can do what they want. But then he also said that basically, with a remake, he could understand if somebody was going to retell the story in a way that would make it better or in a way that would enhance it. And he said that he didn't really think that a remake would accomplish that. So I don't know. I kind of thought it was interesting. I love Back to the Future.
Yeah, they're really good movies. Minus the one where they go back to Western.
I even like
but even then it was still pretty good. I
like that one, and I mean I've rewatched those movies here recently, and they do hold up really well.
They're good movies.
Good movies. But what are your thoughts on especially like right now with all of these movies getting remakes?
See, my thing is I don't like all the reboots happening. If it's more like a continuation or something, or an expanded lore of what's based off of, then I'm cool. I hate the reboot factor. If they're gonna reboot the franchise, I'm not gonna be a fan. But if they're like, oh, we're adding to it, like this is their children or their parents or somebody else invents it and it's in the same universe, then I'd be cool with it. But
See, I'm of the thought process right now. Like, for instance, we were talking about like the live action remake of Moana.
Yeah.
Right. Like that movie hasn't even been 10 years since that movie came out. And it just feels like a very lazy cash grab. Now with Back to the Future, I mean, it has been 35 years, almost 40. Came out in what,
80s.
1985?
80s,
yeah. So it's coming up on 40 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can understand them even, not necessarily I don't know about a continuation because obviously you couldn't get a majority of the original actors, I would imagine. But if you could retell a similar story I don't know. I thought the concept was good enough to where you could remake it with a more current setting.
I suppose. I mean, I can see it both ways. I'd like a continuation. Well, it doesn't have to be a direct continuation, right? It doesn't have to be. They don't even have to have the original cats. They're like, oh, these existed, right? I think that'd be cool.
I don't know. So. With me, I feel like there are certain remakes that have made sense, like the Karate Kid remake with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like great, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
And you know, so there are certain things that can be done, but I definitely understand the hesitancy with something like Back to the Future because it is such a beloved movie that does really stand the test of time really well. Time. But yeah, so that's pretty interesting.
Nice.
Cool.
Fair enough.
Before I hand it off to you, I got one more bit of news.
All right.
So is this video game related, right? So
I think you're gonna steal mine.
Am I?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Well, there's a online game called Dead by Daylight.
Okay. Never mind.
Okay. And they are advertising some Nicolas Cage related content. Now, if you've never played Dead by Daylight, it's basically like a survivor game where you got a group of people that are facing off against a monster, and the monster basically hunts them down, and they have to escape, and you know it's a whole thing, right? They've done things
horror survival type game. Okay, fair
enough. So they've added content before, like they added the Ghostface from Scream, and had him as a playable character. They've had different monsters that they've implemented. So I don't know if they're gonna bring in Nicolas Cage playing Dracula from Renfield since that movie just came out.
That'd be cool.
But they just teased Nicolas Cage coming to Dead by Daylight. So.
That'd be hilarious.
So that's pretty cool. So you might be able to either play as Nicolas Cage as Dracula hunting a bunch of people down, or who knows, they might throw a wild card in there and throw some other characters.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, my video game news, which is funny because we were talking about this a few weeks ago. Mortal Kombat just dropped a trailer for the new video game.
Oh, okay.
So it's a new video game. It's called Mortal Kombat 1. Specifically.
Okay.
And I this is my issue with Mortal Kombat. I love the games, and I loved when they finally started expanding the story beyond the reboot, and I was like, oh my god, yes. Yeah. And they're rebooting again.
Yeah, but I mean, considering the ending of the last one, like,
yes,
there wasn't...
but I think they're still tying it in some sort. So what the storyline tentative, because they only have one trailer so far, is after the events of the last game, Liu Kang gains godlike powers. And in this game, he's basically somehow doing like a time travel thing where with his new powers, he's going back in time to create peace. Now, what that entails, I don't know, but it says it's a full reboot. I'm happy there's a new Mortal Kombat game, but I'm so disappointed that they keep rehashing the same story. I wish they continue story like they did in the last one, but that's my...
Okay.
I'm excited. I'm still going to buy the game.
Yeah.
And it comes out actually in September.
Oh, wow.
So they're like, hey, new game, by the way, comes out in September.
Wow.
So right around the corner. There's that. Now, I should have mentioned this earlier. So we started with James Gunn, Superman. I'm going to end with James Gunn and Superman.
Okay.
Somebody tweeted, that's a joke, to James Gunn, would be like, hey, James Gunn, in your movie, if Superman and Batman have a sit-down conversation, I will eat a shoe. If they talked about each other's problems and how to fix it, I'll eat another shoe. And if Batman says, I'm Batman, then I will eat 3 shoes. And James Gunn was like, all right, give me a few years. So, and then the other guy reposted back. He's like, oh, well, since we're talking about this, it'd be really funny to add these scenes and stuff that he pulled from comic books. I don't know if this is going to happen, but James Gunn straight up was, and there was a few back and forth between the fan and James Gunn, and he's like, yo, I'll get a tattoo of Superman and a shoe, and James Gunn's like, you can get what you want, man. I just want to see somebody eat a shoe. So I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's going to be really funny if something like that happens. Dude,
it's a wild age that we're living in with like the amount of like user interaction that people are getting, especially like, you know, couple years ago, nobody would have ever been able to get something like that in front of someone like James Gunn.
Yeah. So this would be hilarious if that ever happens.
This is slightly different, but I thought it was pretty cool too. So Guardians of the Galaxy recently released, right? And the big thing at the end of the movie with spoiler alert. Big thing at the end of the movie where Groot says, "I love you guys." All right, and we discussed our theory,
our thoughts and opinions
on that, right? Well, apparently, Vin Diesel did an interview where he was saying that whenever he got a script for Groot, right, that in his version of the script he would have what the lines are supposed to mean. And
that's pretty cool.
So that he knew what kind of infliction to put the I am.
That's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty good.
So he's like, obviously I would think James Gunn would have a copy, but he said, I'm the only one with a copy of the script where it says what he's actually saying.
That's funny.
So
fun fact, speaking on that.
Okay.
So when the original Star Wars movies were being made.
Yes.
And you know how Chewbacca just goes, right? While they were filming, George Lucas would ask the actor who played Chewbacca to say his lines instead of doing the noise, because that way the other actors know what their cues are, and then so they can react accordingly what the guy was saying.
Oh, okay. And so they would add the
post-credit. Yep. So I find that funny that they did that to Groot, because they did something similar for Chewbacca.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's all I got for news.
Yeah, that's everything we've got. So thanks a lot for tuning in once again this week. If there's anything that you wanted us to talk about that we missed, just let us know in the comments. Or if there was something you agreed, disagreed, whatever you want to tell us, let us know in the comments. It helps the algorithm, more engagement. So please like, comment, subscribe.
And love.
Yeah.
See you guys next time.
We'll see you guys next time.